With the Raptors' loss last night to a Celtics team without Jason Tatum or Marcus Smart, things have turned for the worst regarding the chase for the 8th seed, and now in all likelihood it looks like if the Raptors want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to win 2 games in the play-in tournament. What's up everybody, it's JJ Buckets, and with that in mind, we are going to talk about the one thing that really could derail the Raptors' hopes for getting into the playoffs through the play-in. Now, that being said, usual drill folks, just make sure you're leaving a like on the video, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel as well. Plus, if you plan on doing any responsible sports betting in the near future, just make sure to check out the sponsor of this video in the description below for a really nice sign-up offer. So the conversation today is really about the offense for the Toronto Raptors, and some of you, I know what you might be thinking, but JJ, the Raptors rank 13th in total team offense. Like, that's not a bad rating by any means. You're not wrong, that's not a bad rating, but there are underlying issues to that team ranking, which I will obviously discuss today, that could genuinely kill this team in the format of a single game elimination. With the Raptors, the conversation for them in any single game playoff format, especially one where they in all likelihood again need to win 2 games, is going to be about the offense, because we know for the Raptors, scoring droughts have been an issue for this team, right? Like, it's not just this season, it's been in previous seasons, and like there's reasons to that you can talk about, whether it be the lack of a truly great perimeter shot creator, etc., etc. But as this team is currently built, the scoring droughts are an issue because when they get into situations where they can't play their style of basketball and they have to play in the half court, I know this is a point that's been hammered home a lot, but like it is worth talking about because it is so important here. They are not good in the half court, right? Let me give you the numbers and let me show you the differentials between, you know, what they look like when they play their style and what they look like when they play in the half court. Now, so most of these numbers are going to be via Cleaning the Glass. Shout out to them. It's honestly one of my favorite subscriptions that I have. So when it comes to the Raptors scoring droughts, I think there's a lot of things that you can really look at here that attribute to it. Like I was saying, the half-court offense is still bad, man. Like after all these years, the Raptors half-court offense ranks 26th in the league. They are in the bottom 5 half-court offenses in the league. And there is good reason to understand why they're bottom 5. Their effective field goal percentage as a team is bottom 3. They are one of the 3 worst teams in basketball when it comes to effective field goal percentage. And if you want the kicker here, the only 2 teams worse than them, the Charlotte Hornets and the Houston Rockets. Yikes. And obviously it's no secret either that the Raptors just have not been a great shooting team from downtown. They rank 28th in three-point percentage, and I still think about the quote at the trade deadline where Masai was talking about how this team can be a great team, they would just need to be one of the best shooting teams in the league, and it still sounds as funny to me now as it did to me then, because I was sitting there and I'm like, Masai, bro, are we watching the same team? The Raptors are one of the worst shooting teams in the league. Oh boy. And all that being said, like these are things that obviously do contribute to the half-court struggles, right? Like, again, like it's no secret the Raptors don't want to be playing in the half court. The Raptors go through scoring droughts when teams force them to play this brand of basketball. Where on the other end of things, right, like when they're establishing their style of play, where they're pushing the pace, where they're turning defense into offense, they are very good at that brand of basketball, right? Like they rank 2nd in the league in points per possession when they're playing their brand of basketball, which is the fast break, the up-tempo. Like, it's such a stark difference in terms of how the team performs with those 2 styles of basketball, right? So like when it comes to the single game elimination, I think it's just such a genuine point of concern to think, especially because obviously the play-in isn't necessarily the playoffs, but we do know that in the playoffs, offenses slow down. Half court gets played a lot more. You don't really get a chance to play your, up-tempo offense as much as you do in the regular season. To some extent, that's something that can be a part of the play-in as well. And like, if the Raptors run into that, and if the Raptors run into their famous scoring droughts where they're going like 3-4 minutes with no buckets because they just can't create, because the style of basketball being played at the time is just too slow, there is just such a realistic chance that you don't make it out of this play-in. Because honestly, like, it's not like a playoff series where you get a do-over, you get another game, and you get another chance to change some things in the scheme, come at it in a different, like, with a different approach and a different game, have that time to really adjust in between games and figure out how to force your style of play onto a team, or how to just make adjustments, obviously, to what the other team is doing and create an environment more conducive to winning. With the Raptors, like, that's all just going to come in one game. Like, if you're making these adjustments, you're going to have to make these adjustments mid-game. And as much as I love Nick Nurse, and I think in some previous years he's been really good at making adjustments, there's times this year where I don't really feel like he's been as good at that, to be honest with you. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I still think Nick Nurse is a good head coach, but this year in particular, and this is a video for another day, and honestly a video I might explore on this challenge, but Nick Nurse hasn't been as great of a coach this year as he has been in previous seasons. One of the major talking points I feel like that's been around the Raptors all year is, you listen to other teams' commentaries, or you listen to people in the media, whoever you want to throw into this discussion, and they consistently talk about the fact that, quote unquote, the Raptors are better than their record shows. That sounds to me like a talented team, which I do think this roster is fairly good. Don't get me wrong, like, it's a fairly good roster, but a talented team that's underperforming. And at that point, you got to look at the reasons why they would be underperforming. Now, obviously, some of the on-court stuff with the actual players can definitely be discussed. I think you've had players this season that haven't played as good. Obviously, Fred VanVleet, I think, is the main one that Raptors fans will point out right away, that he's been so tremendously inconsistent. And as much as, I like Fred, I think I like Fred more than a lot of Raptors fans do. That's definitely true of him. He's definitely been inconsistent, but I think to some extent, the magnifying glass, so to speak, goes on Nick Nurse as well, as to this team's struggles and the fact that we're in this playoff scenario in the first place. And I don't feel like that one has been explored as much, which is interesting to me. But again, sorry, this is a little bit of a sidebar. This is a conversation for another day. But the point here being, this Raptors team that's underperformed all year and that has been just struggling in the half court faces, at this point, it looks like 2 single game eliminations where truly one scoring drought could end their season. And that is a terrifying thought, given how frequent it seems that the scoring droughts come to this team sometimes. I think that's more or less the idea that I wanted to pass along for the day, so make of it what you will. Let me know how concerned you are about potentially the Raptors going through these problems in the play-in tournament. Do you think the Raptors still have a realistic path to making it out of the play-in, even if they're coming in as the 9 seed as opposed to the 10 seed? Sorry, as opposed to the 8 seed, excuse me. Let me know all that in the comment section below. Other than that, folks, I think that's pretty much been me for the video. Yeah, if you're still watching this, I will just reiterate the usual drill like I always do. You've watched the video this long, so I'd like to think that you liked it. So hit that like button. It takes a second. It makes a huge difference for me, truly. And if you're new here and you're still watching and you enjoy what you watch today, just hit the subscribe button as well. That is also very much so appreciated around here. Other than that, folks, it's been JJ Buckets. It has been real, and I will see everybody next time.